Welcome to Satsang. Such a joy and a blessing to be together with all of you. Starting as I was going to say always, but always except when we have exceptions like we did last night. But starting as we almost always do with a question that's come in advance from our beautiful family joining us through the gift of technology from all over the world on different social media platforms. And then we will open it up to any questions that anyone here has. How can we surrender to the divine when our heart is still deeply attached to outcomes, especially in love and relationships? Even when the mind understands detachment, the emotions struggle. How can we lovingly let go while still remaining open and true to love? And this is asked by R. Saini Singh on Facebook. It's a wonderful question. I love all the questions that come in. And it's wonderful because it allows us to talk about a kind of myth and misunderstanding. Surrender does not mean I am no longer open. It doesn't mean I don't care. It doesn't mean I give up. For a lot of us from the West particularly, but now it's seeping into Indian culture as well, especially through, a lot of English words taking the place of the original Sanskrit words. Surrender becomes literally like a four-letter word. It's something that we associate with losing. Oh, the other guy surrendered. Like, we're so good, we got them to surrender. They were losing, so they surrendered. It shows how powerful we are. Or we fight within ourselves, should I just give up and surrender? Like, it's not going anywhere, nothing's going to happen. Fine, we surrender. We think about surrendering like throwing in the towel, the white flag, the whole thing. That's not surrender in the spiritual way that we're talking about. When we talk about surrender to the divine, it's not that you and God are in a fight. God is winning, you lose, and so you have no choice but you surrender. It's not that. What surrender is a very simple awareness that I don't actually have any control. I've been holding on to this illusion of control. I've been holding on to what I always talk about as like a death grip of control, because that's how it feels. When we go through our lives like micromanaging everything, oh my God, it has to be like this, and it has to be like that, and this person has to be like this. We have this death grip on life. And it squeezes the life out of life. It squeezes the life out of those around us as we try to micromanage them. As anybody who's been in a relationship with someone who's got such a tight death grip knows, you feel like you're suffocating. But it also squeezes the life out of us because it prevents us from anchoring in the flow. If I'm so attached to how things have to be, I miss the opportunity to just be in the flow. And to appreciate the flow and to feel the flow flowing through us. So surrender is actually an act of great wisdom. Because surrender says, look, you've got this death grip on life. You're trying to micromanage everything. But you can't. It doesn't work anyway. It's totally futile. Nobody actually does what you want them to do just because you want them to do it anyway. And if they do it just to appease you, not for the real deep reason that you want. Neither the traffic, nor the weather, nor the marketplace, nor other people's hearts move the way that we want them to do, as though we were somehow a puppeteer and they were just puppets. So surrender says you are wasting all of your precious time and energy in this illusion of control, illusion that you're this puppeteer and you get to pull the strings and people will dance, and you're miserable, and you're making everybody else miserable. Let go. The universe has got this thing. That's what surrender is. It doesn't mean, oh, I close myself off to the possibility of success or gain or love. It just says, I'm no longer going to convince myself that I actually can micromanage it to make it happen, because I can't. I'm going to keep doing my very best, but I'm going to realize that the outcome is not in my hands. And so I'm going to take the wisest step, which is to let go. But as I let go into the arms of one I trust. Whether we say God, whether we say the divine, whether we say cosmic intelligence, whether we say source, it doesn't matter what word you use. But I'm going to let go into that, knowing that it'll catch me. You know, that faith is such a critical part. Because if I don't have faith, surrender is really hard. If I feel like I'm surrendering into the void, then it feels like a free fall rather than a trust fall. And this is where faith is so important. And it's really something that a lot of us don't pay a lot of attention to in our spiritual practices, but it's something that for me has been one of the most critical pieces. Because if you have faith and you love, think about like if you're in a car and you're in the passenger seat or the back seat, but you're not the one driving. And imagine that the person who's driving is someone you don't know, you don't trust, you don't think they know the way to get you home. You're going to be a really anxious backseat driver. And no matter how many times they say to you, like, hush, I know the way, you're going to keep saying, left turn up ahead, slow down, your turn's coming up. It's a blind turn, you won't be able to see it, slow, slow. You're going to keep backseat driving. But if you know the driver, and you know that the driver knows how to get you home, you can take a nap. You can put in your earphones, close your eyes, listen to a podcast or a katha or chanting or whatever it may be. You can read a book if you don't get car sick. You can do anything. Because you don't have to micromanage the drive, you know. I trust the driver. And this is why faith is such a critical part of surrender, because, if I don't know who's running this show, then it's hard. It's hard to let go. But if we can find something to anchor in faith, and again, I know that a lot of people have what I call kind of an allergy to God. And it may be because of the religion that they were raised in. It may be because of the way that they've seen religion co-opted for violence, for war, for oppression. It may be because they were harmed in some way by religion in some way. Not religion itself, but, a religious leader, or, maybe they saw a family member get kind of taken into a not real tradition and end up getting kind of brainwashed. And there's so many reasons that people kind of bristle when you talk about God. So don't worry if that happens to you. It's okay for now. Use a different word. But don't avoid the concept of spirituality entirely. Think about the energy that turns apple seeds into apple trees that give us apples. The intelligence. The intelligence through which a dog or a cat could chase a bird or chase a monkey to the top of the building. And the bird or the monkey could jump off, but the dog doesn't. Because the dog, on some instinctive level, knows, I don't fly. It's an intelligence. It's a universal intelligence. One of the ways for me on a personal level that I keep my faith really strong, in addition to my spiritual practice, in addition to just melting in the arati. You're going to laugh, but it's actually through Instagram. And why? Because who do I follow? NASA. Every time I have to open Instagram to see something or do something, the very first things that come, and even if I keep scrolling, it's kind of all that's there, because it's NASA, and it's the telescope, and then it's NASA Web, and it's, all of the related pages. I open Instagram, and I see nebulas. And I see galaxies that are far off. You think, wow. Like, this creation, and even what's more amazing, and it never fails to bring tears to my eyes, you see a picture, some gorgeous picture of what either the James Webb telescope took, or what some other telescope took, or what just the naked eye took in some beautiful place as a comet came, or whatever it may be. And you look at the stars in the picture. And then you do a little bit of math. And the math is how many, sometimes hundreds, sometimes thousands, sometimes millions of years ago, the light that we are seeing today left that star. When you look into the night sky and you see stars, we think, oh, the night sky is so pretty today. That night sky is made up of light that left different stars based on how close they are to us. The closest one, the light left it like 500 years ago. But if it's a clear sky and you're not near a city, you're seeing lights from stars that left those stars literally millions of years ago. What we see no longer exists. I mean, take that in for just a moment. We look in the sky and we behold something gorgeous, and yet, as we are beholding it, we are seeing a picture of that which existed hundreds to millions of years ago. You think, wow. Like, my problems, right? Suddenly, like, the person you're really angry at, you're like, oh my God, forget it. Like, you can't even remember it. But also, even if you don't go there, because it always does kind of boggle the mind a bit. You got to give yourself a few minutes to recover from that. But even if all you do is you look at pictures of nebulas and galaxies and things that we can't see with the naked eye, it never fails to fill me with such love for the divine. You're like, oh my God, what you have created. You know, it's like going to a museum and looking at Monet, or looking at, you know, any painter or photographer or artist who you may love. I love nature, so, you know, Monet and Ansel Adams, like they're my people. But you look at the art and you think, how gorgeous, how beautifully you've captured this. But then when you look at these nebulas and galaxies, you think, oh my God, you created this. Like the picture itself is so beautiful, but who created this? So if the word God makes you bristle, don't worry. Start following NASA. Unfollow everybody else, just follow NASA. And look at nebulas and galaxies and stars. And it'll fill you. It'll fill you with such a sense of awe and beauty and perfection in this universe that to me it is absolutely impossible to not, that it's all actually being taken care of. It's all actually being taken care of. And anyway, that which we see only existed millions of years ago. Wildest dreams and imaginations, not only couldn't we even paint a picture of it, let alone begin to create it. So we surrender. But lastly, again, just reminding us of the specific question, surrendering to the divine does not mean I give up hope. So if the questioner's, looking for love, well, surrender doesn't mean that I give up the idea that I'm going to fall in love. It doesn't mean I close my heart. It doesn't mean I stop hoping. What it means is that I realize that I'm doing the very best I can by just being love, sharing love in the world. And I can't micromanage this thing anyway. Because of all things, love is perhaps the most difficult, the most impossible to actually try to squeeze out of somebody if it doesn't exist. But this is what creates so much of the stress in so many of our lives, is we literally try to basically squeeze orange juice out of cows' udders. And so naturally we're stressed. The universe has given us a cow. We've decided we want orange juice. And so we're just going to squeeze it hard enough and long enough, and eventually it's going to give me orange juice. No, it's not. You want orange juice, you have to plant orange trees. Or find some orange trees. But hey, you got this cow. And if you squeeze those udders gently, lovingly, every once in a while, not continually. And if the udders happen to belong to a cow whom you love and who is a member of your family and who eats the healthy, wonderful, organic food that you eat and is never harmed or chained up, well then from those beautiful udders that you every once in a while tenderly press with love, you get milk. And the key is not to try to squeeze the orange juice out. The key is to say, okay, so this is the prasad. This is what the universe is giving me. How can I take this with love? And if I still decide what I want is orange juice, at least let me plant some orange trees or befriend somebody who has orange trees, rather than torture myself and this poor cow by trying to squeeze orange juice out of its udders. And that's what surrender is. Surrender says, oh, I get it. Okay, it's a cow. All I'm going to get is milk. Let me let go of this whole orange juice idea. Let me learn to love milk. That's what surrender is. Beautiful question. Yes, other questions. Any question that anyone here has? Yes, of course, please. Come, yes, you can come to the microphone.
Radhe Pranam. Well, this is a question my friends keep on asking me, but I'm not able to answer. So I'm just putting it to you. Like all the deities, I mean, all the Sant Purush and all those, they have many wives, okay? So, and our Devtas and all those, they also, have parties, I mean, Apsaras and all those. That's what we are being shown the pictures, and we have been reading this. So my question is, why it is restrained or prescribed for the humans, I mean, to, consume alcohol or partying or keeping, I mean, girlfriends or boyfriends on. My question also arises, I mean, I'm assimilating two questions in one. What is pap karma? And what is not pap karma? Simple.
Okay.
I'm not going into punya, but what is simple papa karma and what is not pap karma?
Okay, great. Several part question. The last part, the word pap, means sin. So we ended with, okay, let's just bottom line, what is sin, what is not sin? But before that, he said something very interesting, and there's a great story that goes with it. So I want to go back for a moment. He said, we have these deities. And sometimes some of the deities, they're, the divine incarnations in their stories and the creation drama have many wives. Why am I not allowed to have many? Why are we told not to have so many boyfriends or girlfriends? So the story that, as you said that, it reminded me of, and then I'll come to the gist of it. It's Pujya Swamiji's story, actually. When he was very young, before he left his home at the age of 8, but prior to that, his mother had this incredible experience where she had actually fallen into a train track, trying to get off of a moving train, and had fallen in between the platform and the moving train. Everybody screamed naturally. People on the train eventually pulled the thing, and eventually the train came to a stop, but it was, hundreds of meters later. Everybody expected, oh my God, okay, she's over. And yet, by God's grace, she actually had fallen into this tiny little area right at the wall of the platform. And somehow the train had brushed right by her. And as the train went by, they looked down and she was just there with her mala, Satguru, 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 Satguru. The true Guru, 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 chanting her mantra. Not a scratch on her. And after that, she realized she'd been given a new life. She'd always been a very spiritual woman, but she really realized she'd been given a new life and dedicated that new life to the divine. Immediately started wearing only white, no more fancy clothes. Immediately started sleeping on the floor, basically started living the life of a renunciant. She was, mid-20s. But from that point, because she felt like, now my life is just God's. And so, stopped all of the relations with her husband and just living this very monastic type of life. So Swamiji tells a great story of when he was very young, 6, 7 years old. They used to sleep on the rooftop in the summertime. And he said, one night I was going down to the kitchen in the middle of the night to get a glass of water. I was thirsty. And I heard my father knocking on my mother's door. And he was saying to her, but Krishna had these wives, but Krishna had Radha, but Krishna. And Swamiji said he didn't understand. He was 6 or 7. He didn't get the meaning behind it. He said, but he heard his mother from inside the door say, Pele Krishna to bano. First, though, you should become Krishna, then come and talk to me about what he did. So I love the story. But on a more serious note, the embodiments of the divine, when they come in form on earth, one of the beautiful aspects of the Hindu tradition is that all of the male deities have a female aspect, the Shiv and the Shakti aspect of the divine. I won't go too much into that philosophy because that'll take us all night, but it's a very, very beautiful aspect. And the awareness, the teaching basically is, whether it's creation, whether it's sustenance, whether it's dissolution, whatever that aspect of the divine is here to do on earth, he can only do it with his Shakti, with his divine feminine aspect. Now, some of Vishnu's avatars on planet Earth, in human form, are householders. Many of the sages in the scriptures are householders. It's one of the beautiful ways that we know that spirituality is not only for monks, not only for nuns. It's not telling everybody to become a monastic. Because the overwhelming majority of wisdom that we get in the scriptures, whether from the mouth of God, from the mouth of sages, is actually being given to us by beings who themselves are married. But each of those marriages is a marriage of dharma. We could go into the story of Krishna's wives. But if you go into it, what you know is this is a story of dharma. This was not for fun. He was not going from bed to bed in the night or the day. He actually married them to protect them for their dignity, for their life, not for his enjoyment or pleasure. And they were wives only in that sort of official capacity. That at least now they were officially wed to him. So they would be protected, their dignity, their lives, their everything. But the teaching is very profound. It's not mazalo. It's not have girlfriends, have boyfriends. None of the divine incarnations are cheating on anybody. The Ras Lila, this beautiful dance that if you may have seen pictures of Bhagavan Krishna multiplying himself in infinite forms for all of the gopis. So everyone had the opportunity to dance with the divine. This was not about girlfriends. This was about the omnipresence of the divine. So, in order to understand the divine, we go back to what Pujya Swamiji's mother said, which basically is get your own mind out of the gutter first, and then start to think about and talk about actually what the divine did. Because if our own minds are in the gutter, well then, you can always try to find something as a rationalization to do what you want to do. Oh, he did that. Oh, she... And we neglect the context. We neglect the meaning. We neglect the truth. People are like, oh, Radha and Krishna. And yet, at the time that Krishna was with Radha, they were prepubescent, both of them. Their childhood stories. The depictions are beautiful, but this is not like a teenage affair or a mid-20s, like cheat on my wife with the milkmaid situation. This is the innocence, the purity of a love that is separate from everything else. So in order to really understand any aspect of the scriptures, but especially these, the householder stories of the divine on earth, we have to get our heads out of the gutters. Then we can understand. In terms of what's sin, lastly, we'll end with this. Honestly, in the Hindu tradition, we don't believe that much in sin. We talk about pap and punya, sin and merit, but it much more relates to actions that are done, which are going to bring us what we would call bad karma, wrong actions. But we don't believe in sin in the way that the, say, Judeo-Christian tradition speaks about sin, particularly the Christian tradition, in a way in terms of the fact of like we are sinners and we need to be saved, we need salvation. We don't believe it like that. We believe that the core of who we are is actually divine, pure, perfect. But we believe in original ignorance, not original sin. So we forget that we are full, pure, divine soul consciousness. We identify with this body in ignorance, and when we identify with it, in that ignorance, we engage in actions. We lie, we cheat, we steal, we harm, we have relations that are not in integrity. And when we engage in actions, actions give us a reward. This is the law of karma. What you do, it comes back. Not because we're being punished or rewarded, but just because it's the law of nature. Gravity is a law of nature. So is karma. So instead of thinking about sin, think about what is going to be the fruit of the karma for my actions. Because if you think sin, then your mind is always looking for some kind of justification. Oh, well, I remember in some story somebody said that Krishna did this or Shiva did that, and they told a lie in the Mahabharata. They did. We're not here to rationalize our bad behavior. You want to behave badly, behave badly. We're not the moral police. As long as it's not illegal, you'll stay out of jail. Legal jail. But you are the one who has to deal with the fruits of that karma when it comes back to you. So instead of focusing on rationalization or justification, simply ask yourself a very simple question. Kya main iska karm ka phal khana chahunga? Do I want to eat the fruit of the action I am about to do? If you're happy to eat the fruit, go ahead and do it. Eyes wide open. But the idea that you're going to somehow plant an apple seed and not end up with an apple tree is ignorance and illusion. So just be really careful what you plant, because those roots are going to get very deep. And it might uproot your house sometime in the future. So be really careful. Ask yourself, do I want the fruit of that? That's the best way of thinking about pap and punya, is it's going to come back to me. One of the reasons that we take good care of ourselves, right? I mean, if I say, okay, well, raise your hand if you brushed your teeth this morning. Like, I would hope that most people did. Why? Because we know later in my life, I don't want my teeth to fall out. It's not just I shouldn't have bad breath for the people around me, but it's because we know I don't want my teeth to fall out later. Why do we eat healthy food? Why do we exercise? Because we are having respect for the us of the future. I don't want to be sick in the future. I don't want to be weak in the future. I don't want to be with falling teeth in the future. So today I'm going to brush my teeth. I'm going to floss when I remember. I'm going to eat healthily. I'm going to, take care of the body out of simple respect for the me of the future. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to do japa. I'm going to do yoga because in the future I want to be healthier, stronger, and more spiritually awake, anchored, grounded. I am having respect for the me of tomorrow, of next year, of 10 years from now. That's all it is. So when we do actions, we have to ask ourselves, is this action done out of respect for me? Tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, next life. There's a great Seinfeld episode. When I was growing up, there was a very, very funny TV show called Seinfeld with the comedian Jerry Seinfeld. And there was a scene that I'll never forget in which he had committed that he was going to start going to sleep earlier. And promises, I'm gonna get to sleep because I'm too tired, I can't do my work. I'm gonna start sleeping earlier. And one day one of the friends walks in and it's past midnight and he's, watching TV, and they say, well, I thought you were going to go to sleep because otherwise you're going to be so tired tomorrow morning. He said, yeah. He said, the problem is that right now Jerry, tonight Jerry, is having fun, enjoying the movie, enjoying the night. And tonight Jerry keeps saying, well, tomorrow morning will be tomorrow's Jerry, he'll handle it. What do I care if tomorrow Jerry is tired? Now Jerry is having fun. I am identified as now Jerry. Tomorrow Jerry is somebody else. And of course it's funny, he's a comedian, it was a funny show. But it's also a great life lesson. The now me and the tomorrow morning me are both me. It's not I do the karma and somebody else eats the fruit. I stay up late, somebody else is tired in the morning. So when you think about pop, you think about sin, simply ask yourself, what fruit do I not want to eat in the future? What can I do that is the most respectful to me of the future? Yeah, great. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your evenings, everyone. A beautiful morning and day to our family joining us from all over the world. And I look so forward to being together tomorrow. And so much love to you all.
Thank you, Pujya Sadhviji, for your